All right, yeah. Okay, given that we have quorum, I call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. All right, and with that, let's get started. First up would be roll call. So I'll just get started with that. District 1, Commissioner Chen, that's me, and I am present. Commissioner Liu, are you present? It's not here, so. Commissioner Huang?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Khan?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Liu?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Bansal?
Commissioner Bansal is here, but they're in the attendees right now.
All right. Commissioner Sriram?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez Nunez? Does not appear that they're present. Commissioner Singh? Commissioner Singh? Well, I still see you in the panelists. So I'll just assume that you're having technical difficulties with the mic.
He needs to say or write that he's present.
Yeah. And Commissioner Lee? Do not believe that Commissioner Lee is present. All right, and today's land acknowledgement.
Hello,
and
one more.
Commissioner Jalapati, my bad.
Present.
Thank you, my bad. And I'm just accustomed to having not a full commission. So anyways, today's land acknowledgement will be delivered by Commissioner Liu.
We would like to take a moment to recognize that while we gather at the city of San Jose, we gather on the ethnic, historic, tribal territory of the Thiamin Ohlone speaking tribal group, some of whom were direct ancestors of the lineage in the Monekna Ohlone tribe. The present-day Monekna Ohlone tribe is comprised of all the known surviving American and Indian lineage original to the San Francisco Bay region who trace their ancestries through the Mission Dolores, Santa Clara, and San Jose. We, the San Jose Youth Commission, recognize the importance of this land to the indigenous Monekna Ohlone people of this region. We also recognize the ancestors of the Monekna Ohlone constructed and maintained the 3 Bay Area missions. We pause for this land acknowledgement as a way of showing respect and encountering the narratives and practices that erase indigenous people's history and culture, and towards inviting and honoring the truth.
All right, thank you. Moving on, we can go on to section 2, which would be public record. I do not believe we've received any correspondence from the public. Is that correct, Ms. Malloy?
We need to check with Ms. Nguyen.
Yes.
I don't believe that we have. Unless Zim does the memo count?
No, that's just directed to us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, in that case, we can move on to open forum. Right. So if any members of the public are present and would like to comment on anything, now is the time. 2 minutes are available. Are there any members of the public present who would like to speak?
I believe that's our District 8 Commissioner. We're trying to promote him to panelist.
All right. So in that case, we do not have any members of the public present, correct? Okay, given that
Correct.
there are no members of the public present, I think we can move on to section 4, the consent calendar. So are there any motions on the floor to approve all items under the consent calendar listed on the agenda?
I, Commissioner Liu, would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you, Commissioner Liu. Are there any seconds?
I, Commissioner Khan, second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, the motion unanimously passes and the consent calendar is approved. So we can move on to section 5, discussion/action items. And we have a visitor from the Office of the City Manager regarding the Youth Master Plan.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for having me. I hope you can see the screen. I'll fix the view in just a minute. There. Thank you. Welcome and good evening. My name is Laura Buzo, Assistant to the City Manager. I'm supporting Deputy City Manager Angel Rios with the development of the Children Youth Services Master Plan. And I know that every month we provide you a brief update of what we're doing around the Children Youth Services Master Plan, but wanted to give you a little bit more insight on the work that we have been doing, especially the last couple months. So just wanted to ensure that you had an opportunity to ask any questions or provide input and feedback. So I'm not going to go through the background too much, but as you know, in the mayor's June budget message of 2021, they directed the city manager's office to develop a Children Youth Services Master Plan. And since then, we have used all of the existing initiatives and efforts that the city has done citywide around ensuring that the master plan is being informed by that work. So for example, the education digital literacy strategy, the education policy 0-30, and of course the San Jose Bill of Rights, which many of you took an active role in adding some additional articles and other items to that. You also know that last spring, the City Council approved $10.5 million of ARP funds to support children youth services. And so we've been able to utilize some of those funds to this date to expand and enhance program and services for children and youth. And then just to remind you all on the purpose of the Children Youth Services Master Plan, we want to make sure that in order to create opportunity pathways for all children and youth in the community, especially those most vulnerable, and that includes communities that were gravely impacted by the pandemic. Many of those families and children and youth were already struggling before the pandemic. And as you all know, the pandemic just made it that much more challenging and difficult. So the master plan will provide guidance on policy priorities, investments, and alignment of programs. We want to ensure that we look at programs from cradle to career. So that would be anything from birth through age 24. We want to make sure that we have college and career and workforce development pathways because we know that that really helps change the poverty cycle of young people and their families. And we want to make sure that we have a coordinated service delivery system, meaning that in order to really serve young people and their families, we want to make sure that we have services where we can best meet their needs, whether it's mental health services or housing or access to free food. And not that we would provide those services directly, but making sure that we have the partners to be able to do that. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we're also mindful about the racism, the root causes, the structural barriers, and the inequities and generational trauma that many of our children and youth in the community experience. And so we have to be sensitive to that in how we develop the master plan, but then how we deliver our services. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we have short-term and long-term impact and outcomes. And then again, just to remind you, kind of the overarching goals is to create and expand pathways and supports from cradle to career from birth through age 24. And we've mentioned this before. We wanted to make sure that we went beyond the age of 18 because we know that many young people, even if they're 18, 19, 20 years old, they're still in need and are also interested in receiving supports and guidance to still make those decisions about college or career or workforce development or employment. And then the vision is that all children, youth, and young adults, particularly those most vulnerable, have increased opportunities to gain 21st century skills that lead to better health outcomes, sustainable employment, and a competitive living wage so that they can live and thrive in this community. So we have this graph that we kind of adopted from Kids in Common. We really like the visual. So when we talk about cradle to career, we're kind of looking at the entire developmental stages of young people, right? Everything, as I mentioned earlier, from birth all the way to adulthood and all the different services that that young person needs along the way. And then we also know that obviously social factors are really important. And so being mindful of that, right? What's happening in the community, what's happening in their neighborhoods and then their schools is really important. And so how do we leverage those opportunities within the home, but also out in the community and the school and through city programs? We mentioned this before, that we know that we can't do this work alone. So we're partnering closely with our consultants as well as department staff like the library, PRNS, Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services, our Office of Racial Equity. We also have been working very closely with community-based organizations, parents, young people such as yourself, as well as other students and young people throughout the community. And so some of the community engagement activities that we have been involved in since September has been, as you all know, many of you participated in our youth town hall. We had a couple more of those during the fall. We also had focus groups of parent and caregivers. We had the citywide survey that just closed a couple weeks ago. And then we also had a number of presentations to different community members, again, just to make sure that we are outreaching and engaging different folks in the community on what we're doing around the master plan. Again, this just kind of gives you another overview of the different folks that we have engaged in this process. Again, everything from school districts to library staff to community-based organizations and to county departments. And this is just kind of gives you a brief overview of the different meetings that we've had. We've covered this with you before, but we do have about 70 individuals that we have engaged, 700 individuals that we have engaged with at different levels through focus groups, presentations, and different meetings. We just most recently, as I mentioned, we closed out our citywide survey and we had almost 2,000 responses, both online and in paper. And again, that was from parents, caregivers, but also youth and young adults. And it was a little difficult, but we really tried to have the survey for young people to be for like middle school to young adults. And so I feel that we got a pretty good response from that different age group. And then most recently, we had a community meeting with about 700 attendees, again, different sectors of the community, to help us kind of craft a little bit more the focus of the master plan. And so through our community engagement activities, like I mentioned, through our focus groups and some of our presentations and our meetings with staff, and this is very, very preliminary because we haven't analyzed our entire survey responses and summarized it yet, but we have already seen some common themes that have been bubbling up. And so these are the ones that have just pretty much consistently have come across, whether it's parent caregivers, whether it's young people, youth commissioners like yourselves, service providers, educators. These again seem to be like those common themes that people are most interested in having the city address. So housing, not only lack of housing, but affordable housing, the impact of housing on families, childcare, recreation, safety and safe spaces, infrastructure, mental, physical health, kind of the umbrella of pre-K to 12th grade education, but also post-secondary education and career opportunities. And just to give you some very brief highlights, and again, this is all preliminary because we haven't synthesized all of our survey data, but I'm sure that this will be pretty consistent across the board. As we all know, the high cost of housing is having a huge impact on young people. We heard pretty clearly that students are struggling in school due to housing insecurity. And that could mean anything from, you know, their family is stressed because they can't pay for rent, or maybe they're moving from home to home, or even being unhoused, right? Maybe living out of a car or a shelter. And so all of those things really impact the young person. And then youth serving systems, meaning there's a lot of programs that are out there that are there to serve young people, but even those organizations are having difficulty maintaining their employees to be able to effectively serve young people. Another thing we heard pretty clearly is that parents and caregivers are often working multiple jobs or working far away from home so that they can afford to pay their rent and take care of their family. 60% of youth said they will not or might not live in San Jose as an adult because of the high cost of living. And so again, just seeing how much housing and the cost of housing is really impacting our entire community. And so again, it's not surprising that the high cost of housing, the cost of living is really important to both young people as well as their parents. Again, just some preliminary data around mental health. Both youth and adults want to see more integration of services in the schools and the communities so that young people have access to those services. Substance abuse prevention, wanting more wraparound services, meaning making sure that all of the needs of that young person are being addressed, as well as if they have any developmental disability. Also, 71% of youth rated safety and violence prevention is very important. So many young people are not feeling safe in their community, in their neighborhood, or even in their schools. And then on some of the qualitative data, 35%, for example, reported that their mental health concerns was making it difficult for them to succeed in school. And 66% of young people rated mental health concerns as very important. And as you can see, the parent caregivers' concerns around mental health were also very high. Many youth experience pressures and stress related to school, managing their workload, needing more support from not only school counselors, but just the school in general. Many youth experienced inequities, either discrimination within the classroom, or also just wanting to see more teachers of color, seeing role models, right? And then also some young people expressed realizing that there are some inequities in the quality of their education, or even the inequities in the facilities in which they go to school. 55% reported the cost of college, vocational, or trade program might get in the way of achieving their life goals and dreams. So again, this should be something that that we should all be very concerned about, because we want to make sure that young people have those opportunities. And then again, seeing that whatever's happening in that young person's life is going to impact their education. So whether it's housing insecurity, limited to no access to food or healthcare services, right? Another thing that really came out really clear is that some youth are responsible for providing childcare for their for their younger siblings, because the high costs of childcare is a huge barrier for parents. And then just to remind you, we've been doing all this work since the fall. We're now in the process of kind of bringing all that data together, as I mentioned, from our focus groups, our presentations, and our surveys. We are now currently in the process of onboarding our new mayor and city council. As you know, we have a new mayor and 4 city council members, so we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to also kind of hear about the work that we've been doing and provide opportunities for input and feedback. And then we are looking at presenting to the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee and then City Council in April. This is a very high level snapshot of the different organizations, educational institutions that we have engaged with over the last few months. Again, this is just high level. We have engaged over 78 different organizations throughout the city and the county, as well as parents and young people total. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you so much for that insightful presentation and your time. It really was just a lot of really useful information and a lot of really great insights. So I do have a question, but before I ask that, does anyone else here have any questions or comments or thoughts, concerns, just anything? Yeah, Commissioner Suiran.
I don't have any particular questions. I just wanted to say, I mean, it's super exciting to see how far like the master plan has like essentially come. I mean, after like all these presentations at our like monthly meetings, I mean, I'm just like super excited for this. So just thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking the time to share with us. I mean, it's really exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo that 100%. It's come a long way since the start of the year. Yeah, Commissioner Khan.
I mean, I'll just like to echo Commissioner Shriram and say that I think that it's really great. Like, I remember we were discussing this last year. I'm so glad to see that it's finally taking off. So like you mentioned like monthly meetings, right? So I guess I did kind of have a question. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but it might have slipped my mind. Are you like who will be the will you select people to be part of these meetings, or like who will the people be essentially working on the youth master plan and going to these meetings?
Yeah, so we tried to make sure that we had a pretty diverse cross-section of organizations as well as parents and young people. And so just doing huge outreach to, for example, like city staff, as well as other organizations to say, hey, who else should we invite, right? Like who's missing? So for example, we made a very concerted effort to invite organizations that support children and families with special needs, right? Because that's often a community of people that get overlooked. We also wanted to make sure that we were engaging justice involved youth or foster youth, right? And so again, just making sure that we asked also like who's missing, who are we not engaging in this process.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, and like definitely feel free to let the Youth Commission know. We can like reach out to our YACs and like our own individual networking sites, and we'd love to help you out with like any particular area or community that you would love to invite to these meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And absolutely, that's wonderful. There's still more work to be done. We are going to be drafting some recommendations, and before anyone in the city kind of gives a stamp of approval, we want to make sure that it comes back to you, to all of you as young people, as community leaders. And so we want to make sure that you also have your eyes on it and can give us input and feedback. And so as part of that process, we would definitely love to also engage your YACs.
Yes, just to like echo Commissioner Khan's point, like every single person on this commission would be so excited and at the opportunity to just help you out with anything. So please just let us know if you need any help whatsoever, and we would love to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. If not, we can move on to the next item on our agenda. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Puzo,
you.
so much for the
Yes,
presentation.
and I just
for
want to
your
say
time.
thank you all for your continued support and participation.
Of course.
It's been awesome partnering with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you again. All right. So next up, we have the Santa Clara County Bill of Rights.
Hello, is everyone able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Thank you. If I sound a little nasally, I'm sorry about that. I have a cold right now. So we have been working on this Bill of Rights for about 7 months. And when I say we, I mean myself and some of my colleagues from the Youth Liberation Movement, which is a sort of an organization, not quite yet, a youth group in Santa Clara County, who is working on ending the cycle of generational poverty and trauma for young people in the city. And this is a project that we've partnered with Kids in Common on. There was a Bill of Rights for Children and Youth for Santa Clara County that was made 12 years ago, but it was made without the input of any young people. So with this project, it's all young people with lived experience. So that means young people who have been involved in the foster care system, the justice system, or the homelessness system. And we designed this whole process to get input from young people and figure out what this new for children and young adults should look like. So what we did was we went around to various youth groups, young people out in the wild on campuses, and various youth commissions across the county. And we talked to them about what rights they think they should have. And we made sure that the input that we got from all of these young people was diverse. We wanted to make sure that people from a lot of different backgrounds were represented. So we talked to young mothers, young fathers, people with experience in the juvenile justice system, homelessness system, foster system, and all different walks of life in general. But we wanted to make sure that we prioritized underserved young people, so that we really got a good scope of what the various needs and wants of the young people across the whole county, and also the different situations were. So another portion of this that made this Bill of Rights, having drafting sessions. After all these focus groups, after all the surveys we did, we and we talk about how the people who composed this draft team were volunteers, the other youth groups that we talked to, and they came from all over the place. Some of them from YLM, some from the Alcove Youth Group, some from the Fresh Lifelines for Youth Advisor, the County Youth Task Force. So they came from all over the place. And over the course of 3 or 4 meetings, we nailed this final document. And so I'm here to read this to you today. So here it goes. Bill of Rights for Children and Young Adults for Santa Clara County. Every young person must get what they need when they need it, no matter their actual perceived race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, mental or physical ability, nationality, immigration status, criminal history, first language, skin color, education status, or wealth. We value the diversity of our children and young adults in Santa Clara County, and we believe we must treat each of them with respect and dignity. All children and young adults have the right to health care, affordable, timely, and quality mental and physical health care that they can access at any time. Mental health, mental and emotional health and well-being, and support systems in and outside of the home that promotes emotional and social safety. Love and emotional connections, meaningful connections with consistent, caring adults and peers who love and appreciate the young person for who they are and want to see them grow. Support and guidance. Receive support and guidance from role models who are dedicated to helping them achieve their dreams and goals. Life skills. Training to develop life skills and knowledge, as well as opportunities to apply them for their growth. education, a relevant and engaging education that exposes them to other cultures and promotes lifelong learning. Job opportunities that promote, sorry, there's a fire truck going by. That's bad timing. Sorry for that interruption. Job opportunities that promotes safe and reasonable working conditions and a living wage and allow them to grow their careers. Personal development, time, space, and resources to pursue any interest or opt for rest. External support for family, support that will allow their families to be taken care of so they can pursue their dreams. Modern needs, reliable transportation and Wi-Fi, computers that meet their needs, and phones when applicable. Basic needs, enough quality food and water, showers, clean clothes, and hygiene products to keep their bodies healthy. Housing, affordable, stable, safe, and comfortable housing that meets their needs as individuals. Green spaces, easily accessible and clean green spaces that will be preserved for future generations. Safety, feel and be safe in all environments they're in, such as their schools, homes, neighborhoods, and online. Voice, be treated as equal partners in identifying problems, developing solutions, and making the decisions that they're impacted by. And choice, make important decisions for their lives and set boundaries that are respected. The rights above have not been fulfilled for all youth. Many are limited by the inflexible and overly restrained structure of the environments designed for them. Change to these environments will not happen without mass commitment and action. By combining our personal power and expertise through continuous collaboration, we have the ability to create lasting change for Santa Clara County youth. And there it is, everyone. The Bill of Rights for Children and Young Adults for Santa Clara County. Now, do any of you have any questions?
All right, so I do have a question, but before I get to that, does anyone else have any questions? And thank you so much for that really insightful presentation. All right, if no one else has any questions, I will go ahead with mine. So earlier, I believe you mentioned that this is an updated version from an earlier Bill of Rights that was made without youth input. Is that correct?
Yes.
I was just wondering, is there anything in this updated iteration that's dramatically different from what was in the previous iteration?
Well, yes, actually. There are a lot more rights. We kind of started from scratch. The original was really great, but because it wasn't made with youth input, we wanted to make sure that this was something that was fully designed by us. And so that sort of meant starting from scratch. So there are a lot of similarities in the sentiment, and there are a lot of similarities in the rights, but there are a lot more in this one. They're phrased very differently. They're more specific. Each one is more specific. There's more of them. The preamble is new. The postamble is new. It's kind of starting from scratch.
Absolutely, I see. Thank you. Yeah, really. Commissioner Liu, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's more of a comment. Thank you for your presentation for this Bill of Rights update. It is a very important document for young people. It gives elected officials and those who are making decisions, it gives them the opportunity to look it over and make sure that this document guides their decision-making process. I'd also like to say that I encourage all of the youth in the city of San Jose, even with this Bill of Rights, it is a foundation for young people to act on. And this is a stepping stone for so many great things. And I hope that this does give young people every opportunity to succeed. So I wanted to put that in there, and thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, I just want to echo Commissioner Liu's sentiment really quickly. Just thank you so much for taking the effort to just build everything up from scratch. And this is a really, really great baseline and foundation and I think it's really important that youth are intimately familiar with the rights that they are entitled to. So just, again, thank you so much for your effort and your time and your commitment. And I think I speak on behalf of the entire commission when we say that we really think that this is going to do the youth of San Jose a really great service. So, yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. If not, I believe that is our last item in section 5. But before we move on, I just want to thank
Oh, I
our
just wanted
presenters.
to.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry for interrupting you. I'm
No,
sorry I
no,
didn't
no,
make
not a
this
problem at all. Not a
clear
problem at all.
before. I was hoping today to get endorsement from the Youth Commission on this bill of rights.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out a little. Could you repeat that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I didn't make this clear before. I just wanted to check in to see if there were any questions before I moved on. But I was hoping today to get the endorsement of the Youth Commission for this bill of rights.
Miss Malloy, are we allowed to vote on that now, or would that have to be put on the agenda for next meeting?
That's a fantastic question. I am very unsure, and the people I am checking with are also unsure.
Mm.
It is not listed as an action item, and I think we listed this as informational.
Mhm.
Oh,
Can you give
no.
me can we all just wait just like a moment real quick so I
Yeah,
can
of course.
ask a couple questions? Thank you. I appreciate your patience.
Mhm.
Okay, so my understanding is because we did list this as informational, not action, what we need to do is we will push this to our next meeting. It'll be our first in-person meeting after the emergency order has been lifted. So, and we will do it as an action item. So Commissioner or Chair Chen, please make sure that's something you note that we will do to vote as an action to vote to endorse the Santa Clara County Children and Youth Bill of Rights at our next meeting.
All right, sounds good.
And then we can do that. That will be recorded. And Ms. Cole, you are welcome to join us at that meeting to sort of observe the action, but we will also notify you on the status of the vote after next meeting as well. I apologize for any confusion when we were adding this to the agenda.
Wait, Miss Malloy, is there any way to expedite that at all, or is there any way to include the vote in this meeting, like any procedural things we could do? Because a month is kind of a long time.
The best I can understand, because it is not an action item, and you have to remember this was originally an item that we had on the January agenda that got moved.
Mhm.
Bear with me 1 second. Information is coming to me as I speak. 1 moment. Sorry. Thank you all for being so patient. Please, if anybody has any other questions about the Bill of Rights.
Right, yeah. Does anyone else have any questions about or concerns, comments, anything about presentation? There was a lot to unpack there, so just like any clarification questions, asking for elaboration, anything, just anything really. If not, I actually did have a clarification question that just a little elaboration would be helpful. So about the technology section in the Bill of Rights, so I just correct me if I'm wrong, but from memory, I believe the Bill of Rights said that like access to technology constitutes a right for youth. Is that correct?
1 second. Let me double check the exact wording.
Yeah.
This was under the modern needs states. And the modern needs, reliable transportation and Wi-Fi, computers that meet their needs, and phones when applicable.
I see. So it enumerates specific types of technology as I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Malloy, any updates?
All right. So I have the
Yes.
official answer. Unfortunately, we do have to follow Brown Act protocol. It does have to be pushed as an action item to our
All
next regular meeting, which will be March 27th. Ms. Cole, I am apologizing. I do apologize for the delay, but I do think this is something we can vote on as an action item on March 27th. And I will make sure that Chair Chen and our administrative assistant Zim add it to the agenda.
All right. Yeah.
Okay,
we're-
I'm sorry for any communication. I think my intentions may have gotten lost in the many weeks of emailing.
It's okay. It's been a little
I'm
bit of
sorry if it's any miscommunication on my part.
No problem. It's been a little bit of time. But yeah, we will take action on it at the next meeting. And you don't have to be there for that. We will have a recording of the meeting just in case, but we will also follow up with you outside of the meeting to notify you of the status of the action.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry about that, but I promise next meeting it will get done. So again, I'm sorry, but hopefully, well, no, not hopefully, we will definitely have that done by next month. And I guess that does wrap up our our discussion / action item section. Just one more time, thank you so much, Ms. Cole, and thank you so much, Ms. Puzo, for your time and your effort and your commitment. Just we really do appreciate it, and we especially appreciate that you're taking the time out of your day to come share these updates with us, so we are informed. So just one more time, thank you. Yeah. All right, and with that, we can move on to the next section of our agenda, which are reports and information. So I believe we are skipping item A, so we can move on to the PRNS report.
All right, I will share my screen. All right, so my name is Nick Georgioff. I'm a recreation supervisor with Parks and Rec. Last we spoke, I had updated you all that Parks and Rec was responsible for standing up some 24-hour shelters with the American Red Cross during the January winter storm event. I believe during an upcoming March City Council meeting, City Council will be providing accommodation for the over 100 PRNS staff who help support this event. We have a few job openings that do apply to youth. We're currently hiring lifeguards and lifeguard instructors, class instructors. The application information is online. You just Google City of San Jose jobs. For these positions here, you must be at least 16 years of age. Lifeguard certification would be provided for you, so you don't have to worry about having certification or not. The hourly pay there starts at 17. It can go up to 26 depending on that certification status. And I believe if you are 18 or older, we're also hiring for swimming pool managers and assistant swimming pool managers. Again, that certification could be provided to you if needed, and all that information is available online now. Just so you can see some of the pools that PRNS operates. We have one at the Mayfair Community Center, one at the Fair Swim Center, the Rotary Ryland Pool, and the Bybrook Park Pool, in addition to the Camden Community Center. And there's also another pool up in Alviso. PRNS only operates the pools at Camden, Fair Swim, Mayfair, and Rotary. So if you were applying for those positions, that is where those 4 pools might be. We also own the Breback and the Alviso pools, but those are operated by a vendor called Ant Swim School. Also last meeting, we'd updated you all that we were opening up our summer classes, camps for registration. Prior to registration opening this past Saturday, we had a 10-day exclusive window for our scholarship eligible families to enroll. So kind of going back to some of those priorities that Laura Buzo was speaking on with the Children and Youth Services Master Plan. So in those 10 days of exclusive scholarship, eligibility registration, we had almost 600 different youth sign up for our camps and classes. That includes city run classes, leisure classes, swimming lessons, STEAM enrichment camps, all that kind of thing. We gave out over $1 million in scholarships so that families could have access to a lot of recreation activities this summer. If you're interested in what those activities are, they're always available online at sjregistration.com. And if you're interested in specifics, all of our brochures are uploaded to the website Issue, so you can see all the specific recreation classes happening this spring and summer at your respective council districts and regions. And that is it for me.
All right, thank you. I also have a question, but again, does anyone else have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? All right, if not, I do have one really just simple question. So about these job opportunities, like the lifeguard, for example, are there any like other prerequisites? Like are there just any prerequisites? Given that we are all minors, most of us are, would we require work permits from our schools, etc.? Just anything of that nature?
Yes, I believe that would come in place if you're 14 to 18, working with the city. Yeah, I'm not quite sure when that would happen, because these are summer programs. But if you contact there should be some emails listed in the job applications. So if you email those direct, like employee services analysts or the HR staff, they can definitely help answer those questions for you.
Absolutely, thank you. Anyone else have any comments, questions? All right, if not, thank you, Mr. Georgia, for your time, and thank you for sharing these exciting job opportunities with us. And I am very excited for the summer season and swimming season. So yeah, just thank you. With that, our next presentation will be from the library.
Hi, everybody. So I've got 3 announcements for this evening from the library. The first is Read Across San Jose. So the library is partnering with multiple local organizations to build connections and develop foundations of learning and growth with a series of special story times. We invite everyone to join us on March 2nd, that's this Thursday, for Read Across San Jose. It's our local edition of the National Read Across America campaign. We're also excited to announce that San Jose Council members will be reading at select branch locations. A special shout out goes out to our early education unit for leading and organizing these special partnerships. For a complete list of story times, you can visit sjpl.org/storytimes. Also in the same vein, Silicon Valley Reads 2023, Journey to New Beginnings is going on right now. Library is helping celebrate the 20th anniversary of Silicon Valley Reads, which is an annual community reading program. We present this in partnership with Santa Clara County Library District and also the Santa Clara County Office of Education. This year's theme, which is the Journey to New Beginnings, really goes and talks about how we get from point A to point B, no matter where we are in our lives and no matter where we come from. This happens in February and also in March, and it happens every year, like I said. This year, though, it's very exciting because we've had over 100 author visits, which take place both virtually and in person, different book clubs, children's programs, and a bunch of other free events that are scheduled not only at our San Jose Public Library locations, but also other library systems and at school locations and other venues across Santa Clara County. So for more information, you can visit our website. We do have a blog post about that, and you can check that out in our blog section. And then lastly, we have college and career preparation classes with Study Smart Tutors. We're partnering with Study Smart Tutors to provide free college and career preparedness workshops. And the topics range from interview skills, self-advocacy, time management, and college pathways. For more information, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the link in our chat. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Knott. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Commissioner Liu, go ahead.
Hey, I thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, is Storytime exclusive to younger children, or can we join?
Well, I think in your roles as youth commissioners, I think that you could definitely go to your local branch and say, hey, I'm a youth commissioner. And it's a good chance to see families, to meet with librarians, to experience a story time. And then also we have some council members that will be there. So I think that makes sense. But it's really a family event, which is great. So if you've got siblings, you've got your parents who are interested as well, it's a really great opportunity to see community, basically community storytelling in practice.
Absolutely, and we'll be sure to up our teen engagement at those events.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Commissioner Liu. And do we have any other questions, thoughts, anything? All right, if not, thank you, Mr. Knott, for your time and your insightful presentation. And story time sounds really exciting, actually. And it's never too old. I'm like, you can never be too old to just listen to a story, read a book.
Absolutely. Never, ever, ever.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right. And so again, thank you for your time. And we can move on to me, my chair report. All right. So as you guys are probably all aware, we had our budget summit, which was which we've been making a really big deal of it for a while now. It finally happened yesterday at the MLK Library. And the day before that, Commissioner Liu had his policy-thon. And of course, both events went really smoothly, went really great. We saw lots of people there, lots of new faces, and it was really amazing and refreshing to see everyone engaged and involved. And yeah, I'm just happy that we were able to resume in-person events and having that sort of, I don't know, that environment really just was able to improve engagement a lot. Having things virtual is always difficult. And in terms of new updates, so I'm considering trying something where maybe one or two commissioners would just visit meetings from another commission, for example, Parks and Rec or Arts, and either going to one of their live meetings or just evaluating one of the recorded sessions. And the purpose of this little trial run is to just see if attending these meetings would be of use in making and helping us make more informed decisions when we're writing policy. And I think it's something that interesting that we can try, and I really do think we should try it. So do we have any volunteers right now to just visit another commission meeting, sit in and see what's going on and see if it helps? Do we have any volunteers? All right, thank you, Commissioner Liu, and thank you, Commissioner Khan. Yeah, and thank you, Commissioner Sriram. That's perfect. And we can work out the details later, but this would really just be either going to one of the live meetings or just sitting around. And I saw her hand go up, Commissioner Janapati, and yeah, it's really exciting. And I am curious how this will go, so we can work out the details later, but I'm really happy to see that there is interest. So there's that, and that. Oh, and next month we'll be having our first in-person meeting of the year, and I am extremely, extremely excited because virtual meetings like such as these are great, but in person is just so much better. And I'm really excited to see all of our faces there, March 27th. And that concludes my chair report, and we can move on to Commissioner reports per city district, which actually does begin with me again. So in terms of my district, what we've been up to, I'm actually considering collaborating with the Saratoga Youth Commission on a basketball tournament just for fun, and it's a really interesting idea, and I definitely would appreciate your guys' help in potentially organizing that. And it'd be, I don't know, just be a really fun way to engage with the community and local youth. And I also am planning on writing a policy on healthcare with Commissioner Sriram, and I am excited to see how that one turns out as well. And yeah, just keep it snappy. That concludes my district updates. So moving on to Commissioner Liu. Commissioner Liu, my bad. Commissioner Liu, are you present? All right, it appears that Commissioner Liu is not with us at the moment, but we can circle back to her later, so we can move on to Commissioner Huang for now.
Hi, for our update at our last meeting, we began discussing potential questions to put on an outline for the youth survey. Then we left it off where everyone will be bringing potential policy ideas to our next meeting.
All right, thank you. Moving on, we have Commissioner Khan next.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. So as of right now, District 4 Youth Advisory Council is in the process of planning AIM. We started planning 2 weeks ago. We're thinking about having field STEM, law, politics, business, entrepreneurs. It'll be really great. We're still in the process of deciding the time, date, location, but it's definitely a tradition that is very prominent to District 4. And I believe that I'll start reaching out to other youth commissioners and other YACs as soon as we figure out all of those details. We're just in the process of finalizing it. I'm also in the process of planning a field trip to City Hall for my YAC members, and I'd be more than happy to include any of the other youth commissioners and their YAC members if they would like to come too. Hopefully, we're trying to get Councilmember David Cohen to lead it and show them around City Hall. Also, we had a couple of volunteers help out at the annual Giving Hearts food drive that is hosted annually by Councilmember David Cohen every year. Some of the YAC members volunteered there. Also, there were a couple of volunteers that showed up to the Vinci Park Tree Planting Day and Alviso Park Tree Planting Day. So that was really, really fun. So that's pretty much all for District 4.
All right, thank you. And I've been told that Commissioner Liu is back, so we can circle back now.
For District 2, some of my YAC members were able to attend the budget summit, and in terms of everyone else, we will be having a meeting, our next meeting early in March to discuss our next policy proposals.
All right, thank you. That's exciting. And now we can move on to, I believe, Commissioner Liu.
Yes, thank you. So as mentioned briefly by the chair, we've hosted an all-day District 5 policy conference where passionate youth from District 5 and across the city collaborated to develop their proposals, and keynote speakers both informed and provided feedback on their proposals at the end and the beginning of their days. So that was exciting. And the District 5 Youth Advisory Council also looks forward to working on those proposals in hopes of making it a reality in the upcoming months. And recently, the D5 YAC met with Councilmember Ortiz for an interview about his upbringing in the East Side, along with his experiences with his life in D5 that include but are not limited to his gang experience. We hope to work with our citywide commissioner to do that and possibly publish a blog on it. District 5 is also working on a newsletter, and also possibly in partnership with Councilmember Ortiz. We are excited to do that. And it's kind of is a celebration to celebrate close to our 1 year on having a D5 youth commissioner. So that's really exciting. And I also like to take a moment to spotlight that we are still working to build upon lifting youth voice on the commission through our commission ad hoc. So note, we did not forget about that. And we look forward to hopefully working on it soon.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Liu. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. All right, moving on to Commissioner Bansal.
So our YAC has just been we kind of left it open-ended, just to bring in more policy ideas, but in our next meeting, we're going to try and draft that, and we're also going to try and get our name out, our YAC out through our council member, Councilmember Davis. So we reached out to her and we've connected, but overall just working on building the YAC and coming up with policies and getting our name out so we can become a stronger and better YAC and help the city of San Jose. But yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Commissioner Gonzalez Munoz. By the way, correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. All right. Does not look like Commissioner Gonzalez Munoz is present with us, which actually works out because I forgot that 7 comes after 6. So Commissioner Siram.
So overall, the District 7 YAC has been working on a few things. As usual, we've been continuing our outreach, spending more time reaching out to student activities directors, and we've also taken a new branch by reaching out to 8th graders at our district middle schools. Along with that, we've also been working on a school safety policy in light of recent events that have occurred in the nation and also in California. And finally, we're currently also working on finding more speakers and presenters for our public health / mental health event that is a joint event with District 3. And we've been able to find a few public health / mental health coaches and presenters. So that's really exciting.
Yep, that is really exciting. All right, thank you, Commissioner Sriram. So Commissioner Gonzalez-Muñez, are you there now?
Hi, my name is Aldo. I'm still getting on board with the commission and stuff, but I'm looking forward to doing more work with you guys and just getting to know what it is about and like just helping and stuff like that.
Absolutely, welcome aboard. We are really excited to have you, and yeah, it's going to be a great year. Okay, moving on to Commissioner Singh.
Hello, is this? All right, there we go, perfect. So this month we've been editing the policy drafts that we have so far, and we are working on more outreach as we haven't been doing that lately. So we've reached out, or we're trying to revise our flyer, update it a little bit, and resend it out to the high schools in our area. And lastly, we all got together and we wrote an email to the district office, the District 9 council member Foley's office. And yeah, that's pretty much what we've been doing.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Commissioner Lee. All right, does not look like Commissioner Lee is with us. In that case, Commissioner Janapati.
Yeah, thank you, Board. Yesterday we had the budget summit, and so I will be meeting with Ms. Malloy in the coming days to discuss how to draft that youth commission letter, and I will be close contact with some of my other commissioners and Ms. Malloy throughout that process, and we will. I don't remember the exact date that we have to deliver the letter by, but I think definitely I'm looking to meet that deadline. Other than that, the Youth Herald blog, we got started with that, and our first blog post is about Commissioner Andrew Liu of District 5, and whenever you get a chance, please go ahead and check that out. And I think the last thing is just from the youth commissioners, I would need you to fill out that form whenever it's possible. Hope just try and do it within the next 2 weeks, so that we can try and wrap the spotlight by the end of this month. But I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And also just do not hesitate to reach out to any of us for assistance with the letter, because that is a major project and we would all love to help you and just lighten our load a little. So just thank you. Yeah. And again, just don't hesitate to reach out. All right. And I believe that concludes the reports per state district. And yeah, we can move on to our next section. Does anyone have any items for future commission meetings for our next monthly meeting agenda that you would like to just put on there now? If not, we can move on to the next section, which I believe is adjournment. Right, yes, the next regular meeting will be in person, very exciting, on March 27th, same time, and really excited to see you all there. So with that, is there a motion on the floor to adjourn?
I would like to motion to adjourn.
All right, any seconds?
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, multiple seconds. That's great. All right. With that, yeah. Motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right. The motion unanimously passes, and we are adjourned. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. We will update you on the location.